Unscripted.
I've been paying close attention to what fans have been saying about the channel and things like that. And I mean fans, not the trolls and that kind of nonsense. And I think it's been working out pretty well. Like I said, it's going to be a bit of a slow burn, but we're going to continue to see things happen and continue to see things kind of grow organically. And I think that that's going to pay off in the long run for everybody going forward. But I also just feel like, talking about things, somebody explained to me that it was a very interesting sort of fact that, I'm not everybody. And, sometimes I think it takes people that kind of reasoning or somebody to say it like that to sort of come out to everybody. So, like, for me personally, I have to say, like, yesterday I retweeted that Sony was giving away, a bunch of games and stuff. Now, I happen to own all the games, particularly the VR games, because I'm a VR aficionado, but I also owned all the other games, which tended to be, like, smaller games and things like that, and I ended up getting those games via, like, various free services through PS Plus and Xbox Live Gold and things like that, so I already owned them. I wasn't, and when I retweeted that the games were coming out, people go, oh, well, now double A's and indies are fine. Like, listen, that stuff is a no-go for me. I'm not going to go back and play that stuff again. Some of it, in some cases, I never played it to begin with. I just downloaded it to add it to my library. But with that being said, I'm retweeting it for awareness because not everybody's me. Not everybody cares about playing the newer stuff, right? Some people actually are happy to play the older stuff, and I think that that's fine. I think that that's something that is fine, and I feel like everybody should be able to play what they want. And I'm not really trying to force my opinions on everybody. For me personally, I didn't buy new hardware to play old games. That's just how I think. That's just how I am. But somebody else might think completely differently, and that's perfectly fine as well. So with that being said, I kind of look forward to this, and I wanted to do this video because I thought it was a really good thing. Now, anybody that knows me knows that I am very much I'm very much a type of person that loves game preservation, and not so much because I want to go back and play. Listen, there is definitely something to going back and playing your favorite games, whatever. And I hear people compare it to your favorite movies, right? Like, oh, well, go back and watch your favorite movies. Well, to be honest with you, it takes a really stellar movie for me to go back and and play something, you know what I mean, that or watch a movie even that that I actually had already watched. If it has to be a Star Wars or a Rocky or something along those lines. I mean, I don't just willy-nilly go back and watch old movies over and over again. That's just not how I am. It takes something kind of special. Same thing with games, right? It takes something really special. Now, I can get excited for stuff like Mass Effect. I feel like Mass Effect is a series that I love. I haven't played it since the last part 3 came out, in terms of the original trilogy, and so I remaking it or remastering it and playing it with some improvements and stuff like that, and I didn't even play all the DLC, is something that I'm definitely looking forward to. But now Microsoft has taken this one step further, and I really enjoy this about what they're doing, and I love the option for people, even if it isn't a good option for me. So I want to get into this video. What's up, everybody? Crapgamer here with Crapgamer Reviews, back with another video. Thank you so much for checking it out. I really do appreciate it. Please like, share, subscribe. I would appreciate that as well. It really does help the channel. It means a lot to me personally. If you're looking for a way to help out a rebuilding YouTuber, then that's the best way to go about it. You can also share it out, subscribe if you haven't already done so, and hit the bell so you're notified of all the content as soon as it drops. So that would be very much appreciated. I want to say shout out to all the old subscribers, new subscribers, and everybody in between. I feel like there's an uptick in the subscriber count, and I think that's good. The views might not be huge or anything, but I'm seeing a lot of people excited about the content, and that's awesome. So thank you guys very much. With that being said, listen, one of the things that Microsoft is doing better than Sony is backwards compatibility and improving old games without having to really touch the actual core of the game, right? That's just a fact, okay? And I talked about this the other day as well. For the older stuff, it's easier to update that via a simple patch on Xbox Series X or S to get those to run at higher frame rates than it is on the PlayStation 5, right? So the PlayStation 5, you need to build a specific version of these games. So again, that's something that really is a big bonus for Microsoft pretty much right away. And even with that being said, I kind of look at this and I go, well, this is a very interesting kind of thing that we kind of catch ourselves at, because now there's this bonus boost, they can do 60 frames per second on games that were 30 as well, thanks to like the Bethesda acquisition and stuff like that. So I wanted to talk about this because Digital Foundry covered it. As part of its celebration in acquiring Bethesda, Microsoft's second wave of FPS boost titles for Xbox Series consoles sees the delivery of some dramatic upgrades for classic titles from its newly assimilated publisher. Heavy hitters Skyrim, Fallout 4, Fallout 76 will get the Digital Foundry treatment in due course, but to begin with, they wanted to revisit Dishonored Definitive Edition and Prey from Arcane Studios. These are both brilliant games, but they're also suboptimal in the original console incarnation. Frames per second boost dramatically transforms the both of them, and what's fascinating is it's not just a doubling of the frame rate. That is the key to improving the existence. Remarkably, the FPS boost goes further than you might expect, to the point where Prey in particular, I feel we're close to remastered territory. They're going to kick off with Prey, which is an immersive sim that he happens to rate as one of his favorite games of 2017, but also a release that he just couldn't bring himself to play on last-gen consoles. A combination of performance problems, input lag, and some extended loading times were very off-putting, and why put yourself through that when the PC version is much better? To him personally, he wants to get the stats out of the way. The game operates at 900p on the Xbox One S, with resolution rising to 1440p on the One X, which also receives a pushed-out draw distance and improved reflections. These pixels count persistent to Xbox Series S and X respectively, but obviously with a frames per second boost enabled. All performance issues are resolved. Both next-gen machines deliver a near perfect 60 frames per second, punctuated only by some checkpoint stutter. The performance boost is just one part of the equation. There's a similar improvement in input lag, comprehensively addressing one of the last gen version's biggest issues. So as for loading times, well, 1 minute 15 second time wait on the Xbox One S is reduced to just 13 seconds on the series machines. Prey is a game that's all about exploration, and especially towards the end of the game, moving around the map is frequent and essential. What was annoying about the borderline unacceptable Xbox One is now much better. The FPS boost is game-changing for this release, bringing it much closer to a PC experience. And Prey on the Xbox Game Pass, and let's just say that if you have a new Xbox console and you've not experienced it before, it's highly recommended. His only regret is the Xbox Series S is still locked to the Xbox One Standard Edition, which was actually 900p, which basically, when it's clear, the console can do much more, but regardless, the improvement here over the Xbox One S is still really spectacular, according to Digital Foundry. They also wanted to check out the Dishonored Definitive Edition, which they looked at back in 2015, and was very disappointed. It was released at the tail end of the PS3, Xbox 360 era. A 60 frames per second upgrade seemed inevitable for the PS4 and Xbox One, but it wasn't really necessarily something that happened. So one of the things that I like about this, and that they're kind of really pushing, is the fact that the frames per second boost is almost giving them a sort of remastered feel, and I really love that about this, and think that it's a fantastic thing for game preservation. Now, is this going to make me want to go back and dive into these games? I've never played this version of Prey or Dishonored. I'm not really, like, from what I understand, I wouldn't like Dishonored, but you know, the original Prey on 360 I actually played through and beat years and years and years ago. So, but it is nice to see them actually come out here and talk about this. They say clearly the big takeaway here is the FPS boost is actually about more than just a doubling of performance. Reduced input lag is a knock-on effect of improving frame rate, but there's the sense here that the Xbox compatibility team is doing more to reduce loading times than you might expect. And bearing in mind how much of an issue storage speed limitations were for the likes of the Fallout games, it's going to be interesting to see how they run in their new FPS boosted renditions. So they're going to be checking them out as well soon. So again, this is all about like game preservation and stuff like this. Does this essentially take away the need to actually go out there and buy a remaster or even remake a game? I don't know, but it definitely does change a lot of things, and I think it really kind of goes about it in such a really good way that we're going to continue to see things, you know, incredible. You know, just to say that these things are or you can't really tell a difference between remastered and this, you know what I mean? I think that's really cool. Goes a long way with the ability that we continue to see Microsoft kind of push the boundaries with their version of gaming and stuff like that. And I got to say, I love that. I think that's really cool. Again, shout out to the people that want to see the positive Xbox stuff. I'm not doing particularly like the quote-unquote fanboy stuff. You know, I'm like, I can talk up Xbox, I can talk up PlayStation without like really necessarily pitting them against each other. Although from time to time you might see something like graphics comparisons or a list of games that performs better on one than the other. That's just kind of informing people. But hopefully you guys are enjoying and what I'm doing, and I just really do appreciate everything that you guys do, and I appreciate the love and support, and you know, sticking with me if you have, and just take a minute to consider subscribing. I would appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for rocking out with me. Take care of each other. Rack 'em up. Game on, my friends. Game on. As always, you know what? Just have a great day. Take care of each other. Crapgamer out.
Unscripted.